Okay. All right, ladies. So if you don't have the exhibits printed out, make sure you can pull them up quickly because we're going to be in them a lot.
The exhibits?
Oh, I did not print them out.
Okay, so just like pull up the case, you just have to look. I forgot. I was thinking about it all morning and then I got wrapped up doing something else. And I meant to send you a message like, hey, have this ready. I'm sorry. I'm a bad
Print the whole thing or just the?
No, just the exhibit. So you need exhibits 3 through 7.
Okay.
But actually, and I lied. And 11 and
3 through 7, 11, and what?
just 11. 12 is like the email or the fax that she gets at the end of the case study, so you don't really need that. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm just going to pull it up on my computer. It was a lot of pages between all of the reading. So when I saw this one, I thought, I'm just going to print to where the story ends.
That's what I did first, too, until I started reading the discussion prep, and I was like, uh-oh, I better go. You never look at the exhibit. So, okay, while you guys are doing that, did you read the memo that Merton got from Levin?
I actually did read the memo, yes. I pulled up the memo after I read the paper.
Okay. I did too.
You did? Okay. So my first question is, imagine you are Merton and it's time for your 9 o'clock meeting with Tevins and Harris. What position would you advocate in that meeting? So, they're talking about, are they going to fire the supervisor? So would you advocate for yes or no? And why?
When I first read it, my very first thought, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't put a lot of thought into it, but my very first thought was, yeah, the guy deserves to be fired because he's had several warnings.
Yeah. Didn't they say it was 3 times?
Third incident.
Yeah.
3rd incident, yes.
Yeah, I agree. Like 3 strikes, you're out.
Yeah, so he's had 3 incidents in the last year, and he was warned several times. So I think I felt like, yeah, this dude should be fired.
As a company, every time there's an injury, it usually makes your insurance rates go way up.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of a big deal. I mean, in addition, obviously, to people getting hurt.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about, so keep that in the back of your mind too, about like the repercussions of all of these incidences and what it does to the company's bottom line. So we will talk about that. Okay, so what did Stepanek actually do and how serious was the offense? So Stepanek is the supervisor.
What did he actually do?
And how serious?
Well, I can't remember, did he ask the guy to do it without the repair?
The way that I read it was that he just told him, it had to be done. Right? And
yeah, the memo's kind of vague, so it's kind of hard to know.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really,
It says he directed him to do it,
right.
And it was too close to the pot line. What was he supposed, I mean, I guess the question is, I feel like I don't know enough about this. Is it, if it had to be done and it's too close to the pot line, did he literally just direct him to do a job and Olson should have the safety precautions?
Right. So that's what I was trying to figure out. So it sounds like the whole environment as a whole was not conducive to an electrician being in that space. Like I feel like, and that's kind of how I felt through the whole case, is that all of these accidents are happening, but they're happening in places where things aren't really conducive to safe work environment. And so when he's saying that it was, they said the Olson to work way too close to the pot line in a congested area. So I feel like if the manager knew that that was not a good area, he should not have set his man in there without appropriate safety things. But how can you do that when the area is already congested? So then I thought back and I thought, okay, so is it really his fault that where the pot line is too congested where somebody could get hurt? So is that if if you take a step back and look at it from that area, like I thought that he should be fired too because he has had multiple incidences where people are getting hurt on his crew. But they're also saying that he's one of the best. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I feel like it's like, yeah, you're not really providing the best safety work and something had to get done in order for this to get fixed. So where do you go? Where's that line that you walk? Like, where's the balance of placing blame on the manager, but placing blame on the factory as a whole because it isn't?
Well, and if a conduit went out, clearly an electrician has to go into that area. So I guess my question would also be, is there a way to make that area safer? And would he even have known that? Like, is there machinery you can turn off? Is there something he could have done? Or is this just an unsafe area, period, and there's no way around it?
Right. And in that case, what kind of precautions do you take? Yeah, it may not be safe. So what kind of precautions do you do to keep it in case this, you know?
In response to Karen's comment, I actually, to play devil's advocate, my guess would be that he would know better because to me, this company seems very strong on their safety standards. Or like they're prepared for safety.
Right.
So my guess would be that he has been directed what he should do if this were a situation. My bigger question is, all it says is too close to the pot line in a congested area. I don't know a thing about this business. I don't know if a congested area lies upon his supervisor, if it lies upon Stepanek. I don't know. Is that who you say his name? Yeah. Anyway, I think it's too hard to read that question since we don't really know the area, or know like what a congested area is. Is that bad?
Right. No. And that's what I thought the same thing. I'm like, this is such a vague thing to start conversation on.
Yeah.
But that's what they, fall in lines with. So
I thought it was vague too.
And I looked for more details. I thought, well, did I miss something? And there just wasn't much. So, but that's, I don't know. So what, if they end up firing him, what are the implications for workers, families, supervisors, if he is fired?
Say that again, sorry.
What are the implications of him being fired for families, workers, supervisors?
Well, there's lots of, go ahead, Karen.
I was going to say, what I mentioned before was, their workers' comp insurance will go up. State where this person applies for employment, that can affect rates as well. Company, and obviously it's going to affect his family because he can earn way less.
Right.
During the time he's unemployed.
Right. They'll have to bump up a new supervisor, do all of the training. It'll cost him a good amount of money just in the retrain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To bounce off what we talked about last week and, keeping retention. It's a lot of money for them to continue to retrain.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, but knowing how the other supervisors treat safety issues, is it fair to single him out and fire him?
Yes, he's had 3. Yes, he's had 3 incidences. Yeah. Warnings. I mean, if I think of him like a kid, it's like, you're done. Sorry.
Right. Yep. Okay, so now that we kind of understand what the company is facing right now, I was reading through it and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work because they want like the 2 team members to discuss. I'm like, how is that going to work with all of us? I think these are wrote for in-class activities. I really think they are. Because they want 2 of you to discuss exhibits. So I think we're just going to do it all together.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. I'm like, how are we going to, like, Jennifer and I are on a team and Mallory and Alicia. I'm like, how are we all going to talk over each other?
Yeah.
So we're just going to, so for
That'd be fun to try though.
You want to try? Let's
No, I'm just kidding. It'd be a great video to submit.
Right? We're all like holding up. I will like write my part down here and we'll just have like communication through like the passage.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start with exhibits 3 and 7. So we're going to pull those. And we're looking for when safety improves, does productivity decrease? So on exhibit 3, we are going to be figuring out how many hours it takes to produce 1 ton of aluminum. So you're going to, so like for 1987, you're going to divide the total hours by the works total.
Oh, okay.
So take a quick second. So like for 1987, your answer should be 39.9.
I didn't know I was in math class.
I know. So just write your numbers down across and then we'll talk.
You said it should be 39.9, right?
Yeah, for 1987.
The answer is yes, correct?
The answer is the smaller the number, the more productive the plant is.
So I'm saying yes. That's
Oh.
fine.
How did you figure that out so fast, mathematician?
Well, in 1987, when I did the math, unless I did the math wrong, it came out to the same as what she said, 30-something 0.7. And then if you do 1991, I got 34.
Yeah.
So the number is lower, so the production is better.
Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
Mine are going lower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then if you look at exhibit 7, so kind of you need to compare the two. So in exhibit 7, that is showing you the safety, like how many, it's showing the average safety incidences. So if you look at those numbers over the years and you compare them with the production hours, you should notice a trend.
Less injuries equals better production.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So Karen, because you were able to figure that out, so why, can you explain that relationship to us? Why
I was the OSHA person at the body shop. Can you tell?
Oh, yes. Very good.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, it just, if you do the math, that's what it's showing, is that the less injuries there are, the better their production hours.
Okay, why though? Is there, like, can you give me why? Like, why? If we're being safe, why is our production going up?
I would imagine, if I had to take a guess, there's a few factors. One is the morale when someone does get hurt. And 2 is they put a lot of time and effort at this company into safety.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would imagine just when you do that, everything is running smoother. They have all these safety precautions.
And if somebody's hurt, they can't fully perform potentially for their, or they might not be able to work for a few days at all. So the production is going to go down.
Cut your finger off, they have to completely stop production.
Right.
To solve the issue, I would assume that they would have to check the machine for malfunction and they would have to clean it.
Right.
There are a lot of things that occur when somebody gets hurt. They have to completely stop production. And
Yeah.
so, if you're being safe and nobody's getting hurt, your production is going to be up.
Because even at the dentist office that I work at, if somebody like pricks themselves with one of the instruments or one of the needles, they have to get blood drawn for months to make sure that they don't have any diseases or things that they could have gotten from that needle. And they do that during work hours. So they're gone for who knows how long at the place getting their blood drawn. So it affects things.
Excellent. Really fast, if you relate that to life, it's the same with the gospel. I think when we're living the gospel principles, we feel safe and we find more joy, not necessarily that we're more productive, but we can find more joy and get more out of life because we feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree. That's a good thought. Didn't think about that.
Hi, Alicia.
Sorry I'm late.
Okay. That's all right. We're just glad you're here. Thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. That was very good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at Exhibit 5. So if you pull that up. And you need to take a look at the injury numbers. So these are these are contributing conditions to where injuries are occurring the most. Kind of take a look at them and see if there's like a trend. Are they going up or down? Which ones seem to have improved the most?
I would say improper position has improved insane in between like even January to August and July in 1991.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Congestion too went way down.
how does that work? The last 3 ones are 1991. And
So-
January to August includes July.
We're looking at the first column of that January to August, that's average. And then they're just saying for the last 2 months, those were the.
Okay, but compared to the years before, that's
Yeah, they significantly.
Perfect.
I mean, you're looking at numbers where like there were 110 at one point, and now they're down to 3.
right.
So obviously, and that's congestion is the reason that guy got hurt in the memo.
Yeah.
So they've made improvements to it. Obviously, I mean, it started at 110. So that's a huge. I mean, if you look at just the total serious injuries, 320 down to 18, in what is that? Less than 1, 2, 3, 4 years. That's
That's really good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they've done a really good job at. There were just a couple that I noticed, like congestion over in the last month. They've gone up from 3 to 4. Hazardous arrangement went up 1 to 1. The unused safely, I don't even know what that means, but that went up to 3. And then power on went up to 1. So there were instances where some things did increase, but only by like 1. And I was looking at, I'm like, that is really not that bad considered where they started to where they are now.
Right.
Can you kind of take a look and see if you categorize the types of injuries that are improving? Actually, I don't like this question. We're going to skip it. Because the question, well, it seems silly to me because I look at these numbers and I'm like, they're definitely improving. But the question is, categorize the type of injuries that are improving compared with the injuries that are not, or the types that are not. But I really don't see any that haven't improved enough to even warrant saying, oh, well, this is not. So anyway, I will keep my opinion. Okay, so our next exhibit is number 6. And I want you to go kind of on your own real quick, go through them and look for the common causes and themes of injuries happening, bless you, in the month of August. And kind of see if you can see like a trend of where the injuries are happening the most.
Looks like a lot of foot.
Everybody is very clumsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like they need to make sure they wear non-slip shoes or something.
Or they need to have like floors that are slip resistant.
Mhm.
Burns and slips. Yeah.
Yeah, burns and slips. So those are like the 2. That's what I found too. I'm like, that is a lot of their mishaps in August were all fault.
Mhm.
There was
One guy that got his foot ran over by the truck.
right.
That's interesting. Maybe they should check alcohol consumption and or sleep deprivation.
Oh.
That's a good point.
People are tripping over.
You're
Yeah.
hired, Jennifer.
Certain shoes, like OSHA has approved shoes that you're supposed to wear that are non-slip.
Right.
Do they have steel toes in them?
Mhm.
Yeah. So looking at this list, what can you say about safety at the Mission Valley plant?
I felt like they were really good in their safety measures. It seems like this is a lot of user error, if you're asking my opinion.
Well, and I can say from experience, a common problem is, like I had to walk around once a month and look at everybody's shoes. And I would tell people, you can't wear those shoes. And they'd be like, yeah, okay, wear the right shoes. And then go back. Because they know you're not going to walk back around for a month. So, I mean, sometimes it's just the employees not listening, you know.
Mhm.
Not necessarily that you don't have the rule in place. They just don't care. So you kind of need to start, sending people home if they're not following the rule and tell them to go change your shoes.
In California, if you don't provide the clothing, I'm sure it's this place, other places too, you can't require people to wear it.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. So like all of the girls at all the dental assistants at our work, we want them to wear the same clothing, so we have to purchase it for them. So
So Karen, when somebody violates like the code, and you said you guys only did it once a month, how do you keep employees? How do you keep them accountable for that? Like, was there something that you guys did when you were?
I just had to walk around once a month, and it was also in California at the time. And I had to, like, the guys would have a milk crate. They're working on cars, so they wanted to stand on it. That's not allowed because then it'll slip out from underneath them and fall. They had to have a certain type of stool. So I'd walk around, and they'd see me coming, and they'd put their crate away, and they'd have the wrong shoes on, and I'd have to go back and report to my manager every day. It didn't do anything to them, if that makes sense. So there wasn't really a profession.
right.
So it's kind of that thing that they mentioned in our paper. People are on best behavior when you're watching them, but when you turn around, they tend to slack off. So it needs to probably be something in place to make it worth their while. You know, if maybe you're sent home without pay for an hour to change or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so, because like Jennifer, you said user error. What was that?
What?
Did you say it was user error? A lot of user error.
No.
Well, somebody said that. Anyways,
Oh, yes, I said that. I thought you said live. Sorry. I thought you said live user error, and I looked in the back. I'm like, no, it's still.
I wish you should. Yeah, I wish you could have seen your face, Jennifer. No.
Are you no,
I feel like there's a lot of extra background noise today. Is anybody else feeling that way?
Yeah. And
yeah.
there's like speakers going out. I don't know if it's my computer or what, but
I know, you can hear it too. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I guess my question to you about user error is how much can a company be responsible for, like are they, trying to figure out the best way to word this. It's a
I
company
kind of understand what you're saying.
for user error.
I
Right.
think they're responsible for the training to make sure that it's less likely. But if somebody's just completely dumb or incapable of doing a task or just kind of, I mean, has their own issues, the company can't really, like if they've trained them to the point where they felt like this is the max training I can give, I don't think that they should be, it's not their fault.
Is it a
I agree.
supervisor? Is it a supervisor's fault then?
No, I think it's just the fact that the employee isn't capable of that task potentially.
Yes, I think, which is why I think that supervisor is fine to be fired. I think when this is becoming to be where he has so many incidents under his belt, he has been really trained, and they have a good system set up. And it's the same with, if any of these burns or falls were the same person over and over, then it would be like, okay, we appreciate all you've done. It's time to go.
Right.
You know?
I think it could potentially be the supervisor's fault if he knows that that employee is incapable of a task that he puts him to do. Like if he knows,
that's a good point.
like, okay, this guy's an electrician, but I'm going to have him do something over here that's a little bit risky that only a like perfect electrician could complete. That obviously the supervisor is just not making sure that his employees are safe and using them for their specifications or whatever. So that's when I think the supervisor could be at fault, is when he asks somebody to do something that they're not trained or capable of doing.
Right. I agree with that. Thank you. So was it? I can't remember if it was in this. I feel like we read so much; it's hard to keep my mind straight. Was it in here where they were saying that a lot of supervisors just wanted to get it done quickly? So they were just like ignoring all the safety. Was it in here, or was it in one of the videos we watched?
I don't know. There was an awful lot of information.
Do you remember what I'm talking about though? Like how they were saying, oh, it's right here. So every worker thought O'Neill did not believe that productivity. No, that's why. I can't remember, but I remember, I don't know if it's in here or what, but they were saying that sometimes safety gets put on the back burner because they know if they don't get it done, and it was like, it just takes one instance of something bad going wrong where a finger gets cut off or a toe gets run over. Where, yeah, you could have done it 100 times before the same way that you're asking somebody else to do it and they didn't get hurt, but this one person, it could be one small little thing off and it totally like affects their way to work. So it's putting safety first every single time, the surest way, even though it might slow down productivity. Is that the best approach?
Yes.
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 Because we read that if you're safe, you have higher production. So even if you think, oh, being safe is going to cut back on productivity, it actually in the long run doesn't.
Right.
Helps.
Well, for instance, they're trucks. They're 4-mile-an-hour trucks.
Right.
That was an excellent example where their productivity actually was better.
Yeah. So going back to the question about user error and problems, because the problem, what they say in the instructions is the problem Mission Valley still has is people. It's people error. And so the common injuries that we looked at are all mistakes made by people. So what type of problem do you think is the easiest to solve? The ones that are expensive or the ones that involve people's behavior, and why? Not all at once, please.
I know. Say that again. Sorry. There's a lot of feedback. So
I don't. Okay. So which type of problem do you think is easiest to solve? Ones that are expensive or ones that involve people's behavior?
Probably the expensive ones.
That's what I was going to say.
People's behavior, you can tell them however many times you want, but they're going to do what they want to do if they want to do it.
Yeah.
And they become expensive if you have to fire them or whatever.
Right.
So probably just the expensive ones.
What challenges are Mission Valley up against in rectifying, because they want to close that gap. So what challenges do they have?
I think people err who are slipping and are getting hurt.
Yeah.
Can I intercept really fast? Alicia, it looked like you tried to say something a few minutes ago, but you're coming through like really. Did you try to say something?
Like blurry. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Now that's better.
Okay, because I was like, yeah, my computer's been acting kind of dumb.
Oh, now it's not good anymore.
Oh man. Okay. I was just gonna pretty much say like I'm in like a health implementation class or something like that. And behavior is actually really hard to change. Like people have to do like crazy stuff to get people to change like what their motivations are and things like that. It's so weird. But yeah.
Are you showering?
Who, me?
Yeah. Showering.
I play radio in the shower.
No,
Can you guys hear that? I'm teasing you. I really don't think you're showering.
that would be super awkward.
Oh gosh.
I know you have roommates. It's got to be hard,
Yeah, seriously. It is hard.
right?
Oh.
You gotta find time when there's time. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Bless your heart. Anyway, there's some sort of background. I don't know if that'll help.
If I like take it and put my thing on like without a voice, does that help? Like if I took the mic off?
Try it. No,
Dang it. Okay.
I don't think maybe it's not your computer run.
One of us. Yeah. Sounds like a lawnmower in the background or something.
Yeah.
I have my door open and there is a lawnmower, but it's not very loud. Let me shut my door.
Oh,
See what I caused?
not dogs.
Mallory and Alicia, how is it working with us old ladies?
I actually love this.
I prefer it. You guys aren't old. It's much better than working with people my age, in my opinion.
Excellent.
They're terrible.
Diversity. We've got great diversity.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Okay, is that better?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was me. Sorry. Okay, so we finally are like cooler weather, and so I'm opening my doors because I'm like loving.
Right.
So sorry about that. Okay, So what has Mission Valley done in the past to improve its safety record so much that they have so few serious injuries compared to with other similar companies?
Didn't they spend $4 million
Yep.
fixing all of their problems?
They did.
So do you
They,
think-
what did you say?
I said, was that a good investment?
I thought it was an excellent investment. I was very happy with all of they did what, road markings, they did the identifying different stripes around hats of different people that did things. What else did they do? So they determined the best pedestrian paths. They painted separate pedestrian and vehicle paths. They had the walkways behind barriers.
They made the
Intersections were marked.
4 mile an hour
Mm-hmm.
rule on.
Mhm. The trucks were painted a fresh coat of orange paint every 6 months. That seems crazy to me, unless it's really dirty. I'll be really dirty.
Right. Yeah, so they took really good steps in ensuring that their safety was number one, I felt like. So will doing more of these things help them move the rest of the way toward their goal? Or have they done all they can do to this point and it's more just educating people on like adhering to safety codes? What do you think?
I think they could do something about the flooring. If that's a huge problem with people slipping, they could, and it could still just be the employees. It could be nothing to do with the flooring itself. But if you put that in and then people are still having the problems, then okay, there's something wrong with it.
Or maybe it's cheaper, instead of the flooring, maybe it's cheaper to buy the boots.
Like what you said, providing the clothing that you want.
Yeah, provide the stuff.
Yeah.
Because then they can't claim, oh, my shoes are slippery, I can't afford the good ones, or whatever,
Right.
I think that's what's giving her a hard time, is because she really doesn't know what else to do.
Right.
They need to close the gap, and she's done so much, and I think they've done a good job. And I think that's exactly her question is, what more am I supposed to do?
Right.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges then for the future? Just trying to figure out what more to do, or
Figuring out a way of getting the employees to the level that they need to be at with whatever, because they've had training, but they're having less injuries, we've noticed, I think, right? But it's still, I feel like it's still the employees, and you can't do much about that. Like, you can prevent them, you can create a safe environment, but
I just had a thought.
it's just
A
tough.
lot of this isn't this the reading that said they're tough guys? It is, right?
yeah,
That this is a multi-generational thing, and they're tough guys, and it's a small town or something, right?
yep. Like they're all generational. They've all worked.
Right. And they just think that the injury is part of the job, and actually they're quite proud of it, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So what if they start a community campaign within the community where the wives and the children are more visible in promoting workplace safety, so that the little boys don't think it's so cool when dad comes home without a finger? That, what if they did something like that?
I like that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just. That's great. Thank you. Okay. And that actually goes into our next question. How can you address the culture embedded in strong community and history?
Oh, shoot. Sorry.
No, that was perfect. So that was awesome. That was great.
Answer.
You're like so ahead of me. Okay, so what can we learn from the incidents with the forklift? Oh, we've already talked about that. Okay, so here's my question. You can be honest or you can lie, whatever you want to. Do you always wear seatbelts?
Yes.
No.
I do.
I do too. You don't, Jennifer, huh?
No.
I do. I have a bad habit of being like 3 blocks away before I put it on. Like I'm driving and I'm almost out of my neighborhood.
I would say that I'm way better than I used to be. I used to be there. But I was in a really bad rollover one time, and if I had worn a seatbelt, I probably would have lost my life. She came in, and I ended up flying out of the car. So I've always been one of those really odd, like, well, actually, about seatbelts. But I am better than I used to be, and it's because I have a fancy car that beeps at me, and I get really tired of her beeping. Is though a lot of people in my community, thankfully, where I am in Las Vegas, like the high school's right across the street, the other high school's right across the street, less than a mile are my other two children's middle schools and elementary. A lot of my running is right here, and I don't fuss with it as much as I should. If that makes, I just get in, I go, I come back, I'm 2 miles in.
Right. Thank you for your honesty. That's very interesting about your rollover. Okay, how about texting in dangerous places? The car, walking. I'm guilty of doing it while I'm walking. I do not text while I will be.
Yeah. I've never texted while driving.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Woo woo, Mallory. Good for you.
Well,
Yes,
California was like the first people to pass the law of no driving, and my dad got a ticket one time. He wasn't texting, but he was on the phone. And I was supposed to get my braces off that week, but then my dad had to pay for the ticket, and so we couldn't afford to get my braces off that week. So I was so mad, and I was like, so yeah.
Cute.
When I was in California, I was at the bottom of a bridge, and this kid was coming down the hill, and I'm watching him on his bicycle, texting. And then at the bottom of the bridge, right in the middle of the sidewalk, was this pole that was like 3 feet high. And his bike tire just hit the pole, and then he went flying like around. And it was just because he was texting. He wasn't. I mean, he was on the sidewalk going straight, so I guess he just assumed nothing would be in his way.
Oh, shoot.
I remember watching it was like slow motion. It was like, dang, you probably shouldn't be texting and riding a bike.
It's crazy.
You hear the crazy accident stories.
Yeah. How about crossing at crosswalk? I don't.
Do you jaywalk? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, do you jaywalk?
Well, being in Rexburg, there's a crosswalk on every corner, so. But sometimes I jaywalk, yes.
Yeah, sometimes I've done that, but
I've jaywalked, yes.
Okay. How about use a ladder instead of a chair? Or do you use the chair?
Chair.
I'm a chair person.
I use a chair all the time.
The ladder's in the garage. I'm not going to get it.
same.
I actually am so heavy that chairs freak me out. So ladder for the win. No, I'm serious.
How's CrossFit or your boot camp?
Oh my gosh, you guys. We could talk about that when we're off live.
Okay. We'll come back to that. That's the speed limit.
I follow it.
Often.
Is the 5 over like the leeway? Is that considered not following the speed limit? Like,
because I follow like the 7 and under rule. So if I'm like at 7 over, I feel like I'm obeying the speed limit.
right.
I agree.
Okay.
I do not follow the speed limit unless I'm like in my neighborhood because we have cops all the time. I live right across the street from the school. Cops patrolling, and there's a lot of kids, so I do stick to the speed limit in my neighborhood.
I do not speed in the school zones, but when I lived in California, my brother was a CHP officer, and so I had his business card. So I'd over, and I'd hand them my license and his card, and then they'd hand it back. And then I moved to Nevada, and here you can have your ticket reduced to a parking ticket by an attorney, and my brother-in-law is an attorney here, so every time he turns it into a parking ticket, and it never goes on my record.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
I don't speed like crazy, but I'm probably not as cautious as I could be. I haven't had to be in a long time.
I actually just this pay period had to pay a speeding ticket as well in a school zone.
Oh no.
Yes.
Those
I've never had a ticket in my life.
It was the dumbest ticket, and I do speed. So when I get a ticket, which I've had a handful in my lifetime, when I get a ticket, I feel like, well deserved. All the different times I get away with speeding, I guess every once in a while I'm caught. But This one was so dumb, and I did take it to an attorney, and the attorney reduced it, so it's not. But I still had to pay $270.
Yeah.
Ooh, ouch.
It's not on my insurance, but yes, I had to pay $270 for it. Unbelievable.
Gosh, that is crazy. Were you going fast or just like?
No, actually, the regular speed limit's 35 on the street. The school zone's obviously 15, but the school, it was for a high school, so it doesn't hit until right at the school. He said he clocked me coming at the top of the hill, which would have not been a school zone. And I wish I would have been thinking, except that I didn't have my license with me when he pulled me over.
Oh,
So I really didn't have much leg to stand on. But anyway, yes.
no.
No, I'm a speeder.
Okay, so how can we get Jennifer to change her ways and start
Oh,
over
just
the
kidding.
environment?
Yeah, fool me. Okay.
Jennifer, was it worth $290 to get somewhere 5 seconds faster?
No, it wasn't. No, because we didn't end up getting there faster anyway with it being stopped over.
That goes back
In
to
the scriptures, it says to obey the laws of the land.
Very good.
That's all we need, right?
That's
That's
right.
all we need.
That's right. And
It's close enough.
I always think about that when I'm driving. I'm like, all right, if I go 10 miles over the speed limit, it's only going to get me to where I want to be 15 minutes faster. Is it really worth the $300 ticket to get there 15, 20 minutes faster? No. So I don't know. I'm a very methodical thinker, so I always try to put things into perspective. Like, is it worth this amount of money to do this? No, it's not. And if the answer is yes, then I'm going to do it. And so, I don't know, maybe thinking about things in that way, is it really worth it? I always the opportunity cost, what's the opportunity cost of this decision? Anyways, our next point, we're going to start talking about Linda's plan for 1992 for her ideas on how she's going to close that gap. So that's in Exhibit 11. If you haven't come take a look, and then we're going to discuss which kind of talk about it, and then decide if we would suggest it.
Oh yeah, she's on the falls already.
So if we look at this list, which ones are going to help the company get to its goal?
What exhibit are you on? Sorry.
11.
11. I think number 5, establish a safety recognition program, awards and dinner based on performance improvement, make it fun. I think that is different than what they're doing now. So I think
that's what you said about getting the families involved and making it kind of like a safety campaign and making it uncool to be safe.
Making it cool to be safe, right.
Yeah.
I'm in this class.
What is necessary?
Yes. What were you going to say, Alicia? We can't hear you.
Oh my gosh. No?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Well, in this class, this is talking about if you make being safe fun, then people will do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, we heard you.
Wait, did you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. Which ones are not going to help that much?
The bi-weekly newsletter.
How come?
I agree with that.
Because not everybody has to read it. It's like optional kind of thing.
Yeah, like I thought the exhibits were optional this week.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun.
So just the fact that people are going to be like, another piece of paper, I'm going to throw it away.
Right.
Alrighty. And what is Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, how many of you get flyers in the mail from your insurance company that are
I just
like,
saw
you
my
know, the health news or whatever? Who reads? Nobody.
I agree. Okay, so adding, what do we think, what's missing from the list? What can we add to it to help close that gap? I think we talked about like providing the safety clothes, like the shoes and.
Yeah, to be honest, John, I can't come up with anything else. I think we came up with some good.
Yeah.
So we talked about providing the safety and then adding the family into it. Do you think there's any kind of training that they could do that would, I mean, they're saying they're going to conduct stage 3 training for all supervisors and lead operators, but do you think that there is any type of training that they could do for like your average rural worker that may get them to understand the importance of safety? Is there any kind, I mean, maybe in your line of work, Karen, you've seen some training that's been beneficial, or not, or does it not matter? If people have it set in their brain, they're not going to change.
The training is great, but somebody's job needs to be to follow up and make sure people are doing what you trained, and that if they're not doing it, what's going to happen next? Because that's where the ball was getting dropped where I worked. Was like I said, they said, oh, OSHA came, here's everything we're supposed to be doing from now on. Can you walk around once a month and make sure everybody's doing it? Which I did my part. But then when I would say person X, person Y, person Z, doing this, this, and this, nothing happened.
Yeah.
No one followed up with them personally to say, hey, this isn't okay. You're either going to get hurt, we're going to get written up. There was no, what word am I looking for? There was no
recourse.
Recourse, yes.
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned like sorry, go ahead, Jennifer.
No, you're fine. This is kind of a morbid thought. And so sorry, don't take it like I'm weird, but I'm just thinking if we're talking about training for lesser people that are getting hurt or that are getting killed, because how many, I can't remember how many deaths they had. Like 3, right?
They've had 3.
It might be worth it for whoever has a serious injury or has been killed or something, like let's say a funeral, send workers from the other plants that are in that exact title to the funeral, or like a wake-up call. Like things really do happen. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of like the video they show you in driver's ed.
Yes.
Where you will die if you drink and drive. They basically make it seem like there's no minor injury you're going to get. You're not going to get a little prick on your finger. You will die. Or they show you how bad it can be. Scaring people into doing something isn't necessarily the best tactic, but it works.
Right.
If there's a fear of, oh my gosh, I will die and my family could be without a dad or something, it's scary enough that most people, that's enough.
Right.
To be like, okay, actually I should follow the...
I just thought of this, sorry. I work with someone who's had multiple DUIs, and he's a younger guy, like probably 29. Well, I guess for some of you, that's probably old guy. Sorry, for me, he's young. So he missed a day of work last summer because they made him go to the morgue as part of his DUI training. It's kind of doing what you're saying. He had to go to the morgue and visit and have, where they showed him bodies and said, this is what is going to happen. Either you're going to die or you're going to kill somebody. You have to stop.
Right. Well, like, let's say, for instance, Olson, since we know what happened to Olson, he has 2nd-degree burns and a dislocated or something shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. He's obviously either in the hospital or he's at home in a bed recuperating. It could be twofold. If you send out some other electricians, one is for them to get an eye-opener of what really happens when something goes bad. And 2, it boosts the morale of the injured party, thinking that work people, are willing to check up on him or whatever. If they're sent out and they can actually see real life instead of just hearing, man, that's too bad he messed up his shoulder. I had shoulder surgery last year. You're in a big old sling and you have all these things going on. You can't use your hand and arm. And so maybe those kind of visits, whether it be to a funeral or to a home of an injured, would benefit people.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of talked about all of that, our conversation is over. Now here's the awkward question. What did you learn? Well, I guess this isn't really awkward, but what did you learn about talking about this case that would apply to future workplaces?
I learned that you need to be strict.
Yeah.
Training and follow up.
And you need to be aware of, like, I mean, I think it's silly, like, oh, it's cool to get hurt at work. Like, you need to be aware of the community, whatever that is. That's
Their mindset.
dumb.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you just need to be aware of, like, okay, so this place, they think it's cool to get hurt, so I need to make it less of a cool thing, however you go about that. Or just understand, like, the workplace and the environment and the mindset of the community. Because I didn't even think about that. Like, most people, to get hurt at work is not
Right.
the best thing in the world. So
Right. And they talked about too, like how it's just their culture. Like they didn't have all these rules back when their great grandparents were working there. And so
right.
we talked about the badge of honor and whatnot. So yeah, changing that mindset, especially when you've grown up with it, that's hard. That's hard to do. So I think you're right, being mindful of that and maybe coming up with policies or procedures that incorporate that camaraderie. Because I feel it's almost like a camaraderie where they're, this is how we are, this is how we've known life. So maybe coming up with something that could incorporate their, almost like, I don't know, like the way that they feel about it, but making them understand, yeah, you can still be tough, but do it in a safe way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So how was today's discussion from 0 to 10?
10.
10.
Yeah, 10.
What did I do that you guys liked?
You did it all.
And then what can I do better next time?
Can't think of anything.
I can't think of anything.
Maybe until you have the exhibits printed off, because that's what.
Well, this was a tough week to be leaving, I think.
It was yeah. I'm going to stop the recording. Anybody else have anything else to say?
Nope.